and welcome to the Sports CDP Crash Course with Data Talks. I am your host, Lorraine. Each episode on this podcast is specially curated to give you deep and current insights on how you can grow your supporter database, get superior sales, and earn real revenue. So without further ado, let's dive right into today's lesson. Did you know that women's sports communities are growing faster than men's, and that this growth follows an industry-wide phenomenon? According to the Sports Innovation Lab report on the growth of women's sports communities, women's sports have a community growth score that is 40% higher than the general sports fan community. The women's sports community growth score is trending up year on year versus general sports, which has a downward trend line. Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. This is a quote by Helen Keller. It really communicates the power of community. Think about all the impactful changes throughout history. They might have started with one person, but they accelerated in growth when people united and came together in a shared mission. It was with this thought in mind that we at Data Talks launched our very own Women in Sports community, because we understand that community is the secret to creating tangible value for women's sports. Why is community the secret to creating tangible value for women's sports, one might ask? It's firstly because there is power in numbers, exactly like Helen Keller noted in her quote. When we first started our Women in Sports Beyond the Hashtag initiative, we focused mainly on profiling women in sports. This was because we knew how terrible the visibility of women's sports is. One of the people we profiled was Alba Pardo, the co-founder of Women in Action Sports Network. She too was passionate about making a change in the sports industry. We also profiled Maria Caicedo Cabrera from Colombia, the director of America de Cali Official Sports Training School in Bogota. We also profiled Soline Al-Zubi from Jordan, who was at the time head of women's football and assistant technical director at Jordan Football Association. And we also, of course, profiled Lucy Mills, who's based in Spain. And she is the co-founder of Ready and a director at Lewis FC. The more people we profiled, however, the more we kept on coming back to the fact that there is power in numbers. Simply put, there's power in people coming together with a shared mission. And not only that, but there's power in people taking all the necessary steps to make change happen together. But do you know what makes our initiative different? We focus on creating tangible value for both the individual and the sports organizations they work for. And we do this by covering all bases around 5 main areas. 1, sharing our insights based on our research, experience, and industry research on best practices for increasing revenue, selling more tickets and merchandise, and also negotiating sponsorship agreements of higher value. We were at Spobis 22 event in Düsseldorf, Germany, sharing insights on how we can make innovation more inclusive in the sports industry. Catch us at more events in the next coming months. And we also focus on number 2, bringing more education on best practices for greater success. We write blog posts for women in sports specifically on our blog every month, but we are boosting this so that our community has a constant supply of educational material. And of course, we have the podcast where we talk more to women in sports, etc. The third area we focus on is opportunity matching everyone in our community with the right opportunities within the industry. At the Spobis 22 event, we invited one of our community members, Lucy Mills, to join us and share more on her area of expertise, which is Web3 and women's sports. So if you think you could be our next collaborator, then join our community to pitch your ideas. Number 4, we focus on the Women in Sports profiling program, bringing the stories of fantastic women in sports and their allies to the forefront. And here are a few great examples. Ariana Cristione came onto the podcast to talk about the state of women's sports. Robert Villahamn also came to the podcast to talk about how men can be allies of women's sports. And of course, Julia Roca Valverde talks about how to host the best sporting events. And last but certainly not least, the community building aspect. With our Women in Sports community platform, we aim to bring everyone together to 1. Network and meet one another. Accessibility is an important factor for making change. How can you truly make an impact if you don't know who else is an ally and where you can turn to for support? Number 2, people can come and exchange skills and experiences. Our community is all about creating tangible value, not just talking all day long, because anyone can do that, but not everyone can put their money where their mouth is and really make a difference. Number 3, everyone can be part of making a difference. As I mentioned before, our community members are passionate people. Giving them a platform to exercise their passion and find like-minded people to potentially collaborate with has been a great privilege and an honor. So if this year you are trying to focus more on harnessing the power of community, feel free to join our community to learn even more on this. If your goal is to get more supporters, superior sales, and real revenue, then visit our website at datatalks.sc and fill out our demo form to experience firsthand how we can help you. Data Talks, more supporters, superior sales, real revenue.